So you've been here. So we've had a pretty interesting day, haven't we? And this is the first time we've actually had an Oracle guy up on the stage. So, but he's going to tell us what's new in MySQL. And I learned something about Dave that I didn't know. And he used to be a stand-up comic, but I don't know if we're going to see any of that. If you can weave a joke into MySQL, I think this is going to be really something spectacular. There is one DBA joke? Can tell us what it is. Your mic should be hot.
The DBA walks into a bar, sees two tables, and says, "May I join you?" I didn't say it was
Wow. I got you. That's like, what's the difference between an engineer and an Oracle DBA?
about 20 grand a year.
Well, it could be 20. Yeah, he's not hot for a moment. It might be 20 grand a year. The thing that struck me was the difference. If you walk into a room full of people, and there's engineers and there's one Oracle DBA, the Oracle DBA is the one he's a little more outgoing. So he's actually looking at the other guy's shoes instead of looking at his own shoes.
Yes.
Perfect. See, that was as good as his, wasn't it? All right, ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Dave Stokes.
Do it. Thanks for you all for coming out. If you want, move from the back. If you're going to throw rotten fruit at me, I don't want you throwing out your arms before we go to beer. I am Dave Stokes. I am the MySQL Community Manager for North America. If you want, I'm david.stokes@oracle.com. What my job title means is I am the conduit from you to Oracle and from Oracle to you. So if you have any complaints, any questions, you're just mad about something, I'm the person you go to. And believe it or not, management does listen to the complaints. They might do the stoic Darth Vader kind of grunt back at you, but we do listen. I'm going to go through this rather quickly since this was originally an hour talk and I've got 27 minutes. Okay, any lawyers in the room? This is for you. Oracle has several problems being a Fortune 100 company. Part of that is that they have all these funny rules and regulations they have to live by. The obvious is something called revenue recognition. If I'm Dave's chocolate chip cookie company, and I've been selling 1.0 chocolate chips for 2 years now, I announced 1.1, the folks in Wall Street want to know what revenue can be accounted to 1.0 chocolate chips and 1.1 chocolate chips. And of course, someone's going to sue me because I'm not putting in macadamia nuts. Oracle has to worry about stuff like what revenues comes with which version, which is a big problem for RAC and Fusion. But you can't do that for a product like MySQL that you give away. So that's why I've got stuck with this slide, even though for most MySQL users it doesn't mean a thing. Oracle wants to be the complete source of all your software. We want to run your operating system, we want to run your databases, we want to do your middleware, and we want a big support contract. Now that's out of the way. You don't have to write me the check today, but this is eventually what we want to do with world domination. What really happens is you have a company like Ticketmaster. Ticketmaster, if you go looking for when's the next Eric Clapton concert, you're going to be looking through a MySQL database. Lightweight, easy to replicate, easy to shard off for certain areas. But when you go to do the heavy financials, it goes to an Oracle RAC system. So when Oracle bought Innobase about 4 or 5 years ago, which was the maker of InnoDB, the transactional engine for MySQL, everyone said, oh my God, Oracle's going to kill MySQL. Go forward a couple of years, Sun buys MySQL, Oracle buys Sun. Oh my God, Oracle's going to kill MySQL. Ain't going to happen. I'm going to tell you 3 reasons why. First is MySQL is going to be a big moneymaker for Oracle. 2, no one is creating the next Facebook, Zappos Shoes, MySpace, Twitter, anything like that using RAC. There's a barrier to entry that Oracle will never, ever be able to meet for people who are starting up. And the third thing is that MySQL is everywhere. The folks who run the independent Oracle users groups around the world, believe me, they are very independent, and we had a meeting with them in February where they ripped us several new ones. They all run RAC. They also run MySQL. It's a neat little tool that has lots of interesting niches, and Oracle is not going to get rid of that. So what is Oracle doing? Well, it's turning MySQL from an adolescent product into a young adult product. They're doing things like putting in hooks to Audit Vault. So for those of you who have to prove via Sarbanes-Oxley's law just who got into the customer database, it's there. You can replicate from RAC to MySQL if you want. We're certifying it so it works on all versions of Unbreakable Linux. If you don't know, you can download Unbreakable Linux for free as well as MySQL. And we have support. MySQL 5.5 came out in December. Anyone here go from 5.0 to 5.1? Oh, there's one. How bad was it?
Didn't really bother me, to be honest.
Okay. Most customers, it did bother, and greatly. 5.1 to 5.5, very simple. Matter of fact, the folks at Empire Avenue, very interesting social networking site, had their system down on a Sunday afternoon, figured, what the heck, we've got backups, let's go 5.1 to 5.5. Installed it, watched it for an hour, everything was working great, they went home. They came back the next day and found their overnight batch scripts were running 20–25% faster. So it was a big deal for us to have everything work so easily. Typical marketing flack. Okay, what changed with 5.5? InnoDB became the standard storage engine. For those of you not used to MySQL or you're used to something like Oracle where you have one storage engine, MySQL has storage engines that do different functions differently. Traditionally, we had our default engine as a index sequential access method storage file system. InnoDB does transactions, all the other fun stuff. We also have other storage engines that will do things for clusters. We even have one called Black Hole, where you write the data to the database, and it says, okay, I got it, and then it throws it away. It's mainly used in replication and screwing with computer science students. Other things we're doing, let me make sure I hit the right thing. Signal resignal. If you're used to writing PLSQL and you come to MySQL, you think you're stepping back in the Stone Ages. Our built-in programming is kind of suspect. We do SQL okay, don't have an analog to PLSQL yet. But those features, as you can see, they're being added. Faster. Now that the folks who write the InnoDB storage engine are reporting the same head engineer who does the rest of the server stuff, they're going through the code with a fine-tooth comb and getting rid of all the funny little mutexes and stuff that have been slowing things down. Benchmarks. I usually hate benchmarks, but these are kind of interesting. Where it used to bog down around here, you see that it doesn't bog as much. The bad news about those slides is next month we're announcing, we have two shows, the O'Reilly MySQL Conference on the West Coast and Collaborate on the East Coast, where we're going to be announcing the next version of MySQL, and all these slides are really going to be out of date. Like I said, we got rid of a lot of mutexes, did a lot of flushing. Replication. It used to be our replication was kind of crude, a lot easier to put up than what Postgres has. What's really interesting is we put in semi-synchronous replication where the slave actually acknowledges that it got the data before the master goes on. Okay, Windows. Larry Ellison does not like Microsoft, as everyone here probably has heard. So what we did is we went through the code and we found out that we were doing a lot of POSIX emulations on Windows. For those of you who don't know, POSIX is the Unix-like standard for doing system calls. Works great on Linux, does not work great on Windows. So you turn them to native Windows calls, and suddenly you start getting much better performance. 538% better performance on read, 1,500% on read and write. Amazing what making it match the OS does. Windows installer is a lot better. In the past, it was kind of a little clunky. Idea is it's going to be working with all the visual tools pretty quickly. MySQL cluster. Anyone in here a cluster customer? Cluster is a top fuel drag racing car. It goes very fast. The folks who really love the product are your cell phone service companies. The faster they can recognize your number and the faster they start billing you for your service, the happier they are. Like I said, it's a very fast product, but if you're using it like a regular database, you're going to be disappointed. Like a top fuel drag racer goes 300 miles an hour real good, can't parallel park worth a darn. Enterprise Edition, if you're paying for it, you get the database, you get all the bug fixes, you also get some analysis tools and some query tools and support. Other thing is MySQL backup in the past, either you serialize your data and write it out to a file, or you do an LVM snapshot. 99% of you do that. Real good, except when you're talking about Sarbanes-Oxley. So they've been working on that a heck of a lot. Enterprise Monitor. This is a good tool that will auto-discover your instances, watch what's going on, tell you when things are bogging down, or see something that it doesn't quite like. Query Analyzer rewrites queries on the fly for you if you have programmers writing SQL code that's not quite optimal and you know what their dirty tricks are. Okay, you all know what support is. Workbench. Anyone in here use Workbench? Good. For those you don't know, it replaced our old query tool and our old admin tool. And it added a nice tool for data modeling. Our folks who go out on consulting gigs and show up at your company that don't know what you're running will run this and they'll get a dump of all your database schemas and they'll see all the relations and they can print it out. It's a rather interesting tool. It's free. You can download it today. There is a paid version that has a few scripts built into it and a couple other features that you probably won't use most of the time, and it's $99 a seat. It's probably the best bargain Oracle has. Okay, almost to the end. Like I said, the big trouble is marketing handed me the slide deck, and there's a couple lies in it. Hopefully you didn't see them. One of them was that they say that Windows is the #1 development platform for MySQL. Well, it's the #1 downloaded platform for MySQL off our servers. The trouble is all these Linux distros have MySQL built in, and we have no count of those. So it's one of those things where I argue with them, and they argue back, and they say it's on the slide, so it has to be true. Next month, MySQL 5.6 will be announced. About April 11th and 12th, you'll start seeing all the stuff in the press. If you can be at the Collaborate show or the O'Reilly show, everything will be in detail there. By the way, in October, Oracle Open World. Last year, they had a Sunday devoted to MySQL. It was the first time they had a single product picked for a special day, and they called it MySQL Sunday. This year, I was looking to have it called MySQL Sabbath because I have a friend who has a Pope outfit, you know, Crozier hat and all that stuff that I was going to borrow. It's going to look great. Well, that's not going to happen. Sunday is going to be Community Day where all the various user groups run the day. But for 3 days coming after that, there will be MySQL tracks and only MySQL tracks. It won't be how to use MySQL with Rack. It's going to be just strictly MySQL stuff. And it's going to be the cheapest ticket for Oracle Open World. So if you get in through the MySQL track, it's going to be the cheapest way to go. Okay, I went through this rather quickly because I know earlier there was a lot of anti-Oracle talk, and I want people to have a chance to yell at the Oracle guy.